Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into a story that sounds like it came straight out of a dystopian thriller. Not bullets, not bombs, but something far more insidious. A so-called zombie plague that is tearing through Russia's army from the inside. And before you imagine something supernatural, understand this. The real horror isn't fiction. It's psychological, systemic, and devastatingly real. When people hear the phrase zombie plague, they picture chaos, infection, mindless behavior. In reality, the term has become a metaphor for something that's spreading through the ranks like a virus: exhaustion, despair, corruption, addiction, and a collapse of morale so deep that soldiers are becoming shells of themselves. The battlefield may be in Ukraine, but the decay is happening internally. Modern warfare isn't just fought with tanks and artillery. It's fought in minds. It's fought in supply chains. It's fought in discipline. And increasingly, it's fought against internal breakdown. Reports and testimonies over the past months have painted a picture of units hollowed out not by enemy fire, but by dysfunction. When soldiers begin to lose belief in leadership, in purpose, and even in survival, something changes in their eyes. Fatigue has become chronic. Rotations are delayed. Some troops remain in frontline positions far beyond reasonable limits. Sleep deprivation, constant artillery exposure, and drone surveillance create an atmosphere where stress never switches off. The nervous system remains locked in survival mode. Over time, that transforms people. Reaction slows, emotion dulls, motivation evaporates. Then comes the supply problem: equipment shortages, inconsistent logistics, in some cases outdated gear or insufficient medical resources. When a soldier feels abandoned by the system that sent him to fight, morale fractures. That fracture spreads unit to unit like an infection. One demoralized platoon influences another. Rumors spread faster than facts. Trust disappears. Add to that the psychological toll of heavy casualties. Loss compounds loss. When replacements arrive, they are often minimally trained, unfamiliar with terrain, and thrown into chaos. Veteran soldiers, already drained, are tasked with stabilizing them. The burden multiplies. Instead of cohesion, you get fragmentation. The term zombie has also been used to describe another disturbing element: the increasing reliance on substances. There have been recurring allegations and reports suggesting stimulants and other drugs circulating among some troops to keep them awake, alert, or numb. Whether exaggerated or isolated, even the perception of it speaks volumes. When an army begins depending on chemicals to sustain basic functionality, it signals deeper cracks beneath the surface. Discipline, once rigid, starts eroding under prolonged strain. Desertion cases rise. Internal conflicts escalate. Some units reportedly refuse orders perceived as suicidal. Others comply, but without conviction. And in war, conviction matters. It determines reaction time, adaptability, and resilience under fire. Command structure pressure is another layer. Higher leadership demands results. Frontline commanders are squeezed between strategic expectations and battlefield realities. When objectives clash with practical limitations, tension trickles downward. Orders become harsher, punishments increase. Fear replaces loyalty, and fear can control behavior for only so long before it backfires. Information control plays its role too. When soldiers' personal communications are restricted or monitored, when access to independent news is limited, mistrust grows. They rely on whispers in trenches and encrypted chats. Speculation replaces clarity. Every rumor of defeat magnifies anxiety. Weather and terrain add physical punishment. Harsh winters, mud seasons, inadequate shelter, cold injuries, and illnesses. The human body has limits, and when those limits are pushed repeatedly without proper recovery, breakdown is inevitable. That breakdown isn't dramatic like an explosion. It's slow, silent, cumulative. Medical evacuation delays deepen despair. A wounded soldier who waits hours, sometimes longer, for extraction begins to question survival odds. Those who witness it internalize that fear. It lingers in every movement forward. Training gaps compound everything. Rapid mobilizations mean not all recruits are equally prepared. Combat isn't learned overnight. Tactical coordination, communication discipline, and survival instincts require repetition. Without it, panic fills the vacuum. Panic spreads faster than gunfire. Technology has also reshaped psychological warfare. Constant drone presence means soldiers are never fully hidden. The buzzing overhead becomes a symbol of vulnerability. Even during supposed downtime, tension persists. That perpetual stress alters behavior. Hypervigilance eventually mutates into exhaustion. Then there's the financial and social strain back home. Families dealing with uncertainty, delayed payments, conflicting information. When personal lives destabilize, focus fractures. A soldier distracted by worries about loved ones cannot operate at peak capacity. Propaganda narratives promising swift victories clash with prolonged reality. Cognitive dissonance sets in. When expectations and lived experience diverge too sharply, morale suffers. Soldiers begin questioning not just strategy, but truth itself. The zombie plague metaphor also reflects a perceived emotional shutdown. Many testimonies describe troops operating mechanically, not fearless, not heroic, just automatic, going through the motions, surviving minute to minute, emotionally detached as a coping mechanism. But detachment erodes initiative. Internal rivalries between different military groups or formations can create further fragmentation. Competition for resources, recognition, or influence weakens unified command. Coordination suffers. Unity fractures. Casualty concealment, if perceived, breeds anger. Soldiers who believe losses are underreported feel expendable. Trust in leadership declines further. And once trust erodes, rebuilding it in wartime conditions is extraordinarily difficult. The logistical strain of prolonged conflict stretches maintenance capacity. Vehicles degrade. Ammunition supply fluctuates. Repair crews work under pressure. Equipment failure in combat destroys confidence instantly. A soldier who doubts his tools fights differently. Even the simple absence of rotation cycles matters. Human beings need reset periods. Without them, decision-making deteriorates. Mistakes increase. Friendly fire incidents, miscommunications, tactical missteps, these often trace back to exhaustion. Another element is technological adaptation. Modern conflict evolves quickly. Drone tactics, electronic warfare, precision strikes. An army that struggles to adapt rapidly feels perpetually behind. That perception alone damages morale. Psychological warfare from the opposing side amplifies these vulnerabilities. Messaging aimed at encouraging surrender or highlighting internal failures can intensify existing doubts. When doubts are already present, they don't need to be created, only magnified. Some analysts argue that institutional rigidity compounds the crisis. When feedback from lower ranks fails to influence strategy, frustration deepens. Soldiers feel unheard. Officers feel constrained. Initiative stalls. The human cost isn't abstract. PTSD symptoms accumulate. Nightmares, hyperarousal, emotional numbness. Without adequate psychological support systems, trauma becomes endemic. An army carrying untreated trauma cannot function optimally. There's also the demographic factor. Mobilization may pull individuals from diverse civilian backgrounds with minimal preparation for sustained combat. Integrating them into hardened units requires time and resources. In high-intensity conflict, time is scarce. Public perception within Russia adds another dimension. When narratives at home conflict with soldiers' experiences, reintegration fears grow. Troops may worry about how their sacrifices are understood or misunderstood. That alienation isolates them further. Leadership reshuffles can destabilize continuity. When commanders are replaced rapidly, strategic direction shifts. Units must recalibrate repeatedly. Stability is crucial in warfare. Instability breeds confusion. Corruption allegations, whether systemic or sporadic, undermine faith. If soldiers believe resources are siphoned away from frontline needs, resentment festers. Resentment corrodes cohesion. And yet, it's important to avoid caricature. Not every unit is collapsing, not every soldier is demoralized, but systemic strain creates uneven performance. Some formations hold strong, others falter dramatically. That inconsistency itself is destabilizing. The metaphor of a zombie plague captures the idea of something spreading invisibly. Morale is invisible on satellite imagery. Psychological decay doesn't show up in military parades, but it manifests in response times, coordination, and battlefield outcomes. History shows that internal collapse often precedes strategic defeat. Empires rarely fall solely because of external force. They crumble when internal resilience fails. When institutions no longer sustain pressure, cracks widen into fractures.